A man convicted of shooting into a car, killing a 17-year-old girl, will now spend the rest of his life behind bars.
Love, a powerful force that can bind or blind. But what happens when it ignites a tragic inferno? The tale of Nakia Dorsey and Jayne Salazar-Chavez embodies the darker side of affection, a story that ended in a courtroom's solemn decree. Jayne Salazar-Chavez, a vibrant soul, her spirit dancing in life's vivid hues. Her kindness attracted many, including Nakia Dorsey. Love turned into a battlefield, a love triangle where passion transformed into jealousy and possessiveness. In a moment of despair, Nakia's irreversible act altered their lives, leading to an irrevocable loss and a sentence echoing through the corridors of justice. Join us as we unravel the layers of this tragic story, seeking answers in the enigmatic labyrinth of human emotions. In the bustling halls of Southwest DeKalb High School, there existed a young luminary, Jayne Salazar-Chavez, a name whispered with awe and admiration. She wasn't just a junior. She was a force of nature, a whirlwind of vivacity that swept through the student body, leaving behind trails of infectious joy and unforgettable memories. It was the October of 2017 when the school crowned her homecoming queen. The entire gymnasium erupted in applause, the thunderous ovation resonating in celebration of a soul so vibrant, so magnetic. Jayne's eyes sparkled with an iridescent joy as she was adorned with the symbolic sash and tiara, her smile radiating the kind of warmth that seemed to permeate through every corner of the room. Her popularity wasn't just about the accolades or titles, it was a testament to her magnetic personality. She possessed a rare gift, the ability to make everyone she encountered feel valued and special. Whether it was the infectious laughter that bubbled out during conversations or the genuine interest she showed in others, Jayne had a unique way of making people feel seen and appreciated. Amidst the glittering night of homecoming, Jayne's dreams soared beyond the realm of high school festivities. She was more than just a beacon of popularity. She was a young woman with aspirations that spoke volumes about her character. Her eyes held a glimmer of determination, a glimpse of the future she was eager to carve. Beyond the dazzling lights and the roaring applause, Jayne harbored aspirations of a career in dental hygiene. She sought to transform her compassion and zest for life into a profession, one where she could contribute to the well-being of others. Her dream was to create smiles beyond the confines of a high school celebration, reaching out to touch lives through care and empathy. In the corridors, amidst the friendships and shared dreams, Jayne Salazar-Chavez embodied the essence of potential and promise. Her story was one of unwavering ambition, a boundless exuberance, and a simple desire to make the world a little brighter. She had left an indelible mark on the school, a beacon of hope and inspiration, and her future seemed destined to shine even brighter. But fate had other plans, a tragic end to a young life that held such immense promise, leaving behind a legacy of unforgettable moments and an irreplaceable presence. The events transpired against the backdrop of a day steeped in significance, Veterans Day of 2022. Wilson, a returning veteran, arrived home unannounced, hoping for the warmth of familiarity that often greeted his return. However, the air that met him wasn't one of comforting ease, but rather an unusual tension that cloaked the atmosphere. It was a shift, subtle yet unmistakable, in the demeanor of his significant other, Jayne Salazar-Chavez. Her usual effervescence was replaced by a demeanor that hinted at concealed emotions and unspoken thoughts. Intrigued and concerned by the unexplained change in her behavior, Wilson's senses, sharpened by years of service and life experiences, couldn't ignore the palpable unease. He felt compelled to confront the situation, driven by an unshakable sense of suspicion. Desperate for answers and guided by inner turmoil, he took the bold step of confronting her, seeking an explanation for the veiled mystery that had cast a shadow over their interactions. The demand to see her phone was a defining moment, a request laden with the weight of unanswered questions and the hope for clarity. As the screen illuminated under his touch, Wilson stumbled upon a seemingly innocuous text message. However, the sender's name, Dorsey, struck a disconcerting chord. The message itself, innocuous in wording, hinted at an undercurrent of suggestions that set a storm of emotions swirling within him. It was a moment that ignited the spark of doubt and confrontation, setting the stage for the forthcoming tempest. Driven by a mix of emotions, confusion, hurt, and an insatiable hunger for truth, Wilson took the decisive step of reaching out to Dorsey, hoping to unveil the enigma that had clouded the day's interactions. In the wake of discovering the suggestive text message on Jayne Salazar-Chavez's phone, Wilson found himself engulfed in a whirlwind of emotions and burning questions. With a mix of apprehension and determination, he took the pivotal step of confronting the situation head-on. The unidentified number, a source of unease and uncertainty, was dialed, the air crackling with anticipation and anxiety. However, the call ended abruptly, leaving Wilson on the precipice of an unresolved mystery. A short while later, the unidentified sender of the text message emerged into clarity: Dorsey. The phone rang, and as Salazar-Chavez answered, a heated exchange erupted between Wilson and Dorsey, each defending their connection to the young woman. It was a moment fraught with tension, confusion, and clashing assertions, a verbal battlefield where emotions ran high and the truth appeared as elusive as ever. For Salazar-Chavez, caught between the two conflicting sides, the unfolding scenario likely felt surreal and overwhelming. The heated conversation that ensued marked the beginning of a turbulent saga, a clash of perspectives and desires, leaving her entangled in a complex web of emotions and relationships. The reality of the situation was far from the tranquility she had hoped for on that unexpected Veterans Day. It was a moment that would resonate as the tipping point, setting in motion a chain of events that would alter the course of their lives. The night took an unexpected turn as Brandon Wilson and Jayne Salazar-Chavez, grappling with the emotions and uncertainties from the earlier confrontations, decided to step out. A few hours later, as they returned to Salazar-Chavez's residence, they were met with a chilling sight: a figure standing outside the house, bathed in the dim glow of the streetlights. It was Nakia Dorsey. The atmosphere immediately tensed, the air thick with unresolved issues and unspoken words. Their return home, which was anticipated as a moment of respite or a chance to reconcile, evolved into an eerie encounter. The unanticipated appearance of Dorsey, a central figure in the events of the evening, signaled an escalation of the already tense situation. The mere presence of Dorsey outside Jayne's house created an unsettling aura, a moment pregnant with unspoken intentions and brewing conflict. For Wilson and Salazar-Chavez, it was a jarring continuation of the tumultuous events that had unfolded throughout the day, leaving them on the threshold of an intensifying storm of emotions and unresolved disputes. This unexpected confrontation in the silent darkness of the night became the catalyst for an even more intricate and convoluted series of events yet to unfold. Amid the darkness, Wilson's senses were abruptly jolted by the presence of a vivid red laser, a hauntingly precise dot, dancing upon his face. Before the shock could settle in, the figure of Dorsey emerged from the shadows, garbed in black attire, brandishing a handgun adorned with a distinct laser sight, a menacing visual in the night's canvas. In an instant, chaos erupted. The air crackled with the deafening roar of gunfire as Dorsey unleashed a relentless storm of bullets toward the car. Wilson, steely in his instincts, reacted swiftly, maneuvering the vehicle with urgency in an attempt to escape the line of fire. Yet the assailant, undeterred, persisted in the assault, the sharp cracks of gunshots resounding through the night. The tranquility of the neighborhood shattered as the car, a fragile shelter, bore the brunt of the unforgiving barrage. The hail of gunfire, a symphony of fear and chaos, relentlessly pummeled the vehicle. Each shot marked a moment of terror, punctuating the night with an eerie, life-threatening rhythm. With the acrid scent of gun smoke lingering and adrenaline surging through his veins, Wilson, acting on sheer survival instinct, navigated the bullet-ridden vehicle to a nearby gas station on Glenwood Road. The screeching tires mirrored the frantic rhythm of his heart as he sought refuge and assistance, racing against the haunting echoes of the night's violent onslaught. In the aftermath of the tumultuous encounter, Wilson urgently dialed 911, the gravity of the situation hanging heavy in the air. The events of that night painted a vivid and terrifying scene, leaving an indelible mark not just on the car, but on the psyche of those involved. A night where tranquility had swiftly transformed into a harrowing, life-threatening ordeal. The frenetic symphony of chaos finally subsided, leaving a haunting silence in its wake. The night, once filled with terrifying echoes of gunfire, now simmered in an eerie stillness. However, the aftermath told a tale of pain, tragedy, and irreparable loss. Amidst the tumult, the aftermath revealed the stark reality of the violence that had unfolded. Brandon Wilson, in the throes of the violent ordeal, endured a single gunshot wound, a non-fatal but searing injury to his leg. The pain of the wound was eclipsed by the weight of the devastating loss that loomed over him. In the aftermath of the devastating and fatal shooting that robbed the world of Jayne Salazar-Chavez's promising life, the wheels of justice began to turn. Law enforcement officers, driven by a fervent commitment to unearth the truth behind the tragic events, embarked on an intensive and meticulous investigation. Brandon Wilson, a pivotal eyewitness to the heart-wrenching assault, cooperated extensively with the investigators. He bravely recounted the chilling sequence of events that unfolded that haunting night. Wilson vividly described the terrifying moment when Nakia Dorsey, without warning, opened fire while they were seated in the car, recounting the panic and chaos that ensued. His recollection bore the emotional weight of witnessing the injuries that he sustained, a gunshot wound to his leg, and the fatal impact of the bullets that tore through Jayne's torso and arm, ultimately claiming her life shortly after the gunfire ceased. A ray of hope emerged from the shadows. Authorities received a pivotal lead, an anonymous tip that pointed their investigation toward Nakia Dorsey as the primary suspect in the case. This anonymous piece of information acted as a beacon, guiding law enforcement toward the individual believed to be responsible for the fatal shooting and the profound loss of Jayne Salazar-Chavez, setting the gears of justice in motion. The quest for truth gained momentum as law enforcement meticulously wove together a tapestry of evidence and testimonies, sifting through the complex layers of the tumultuous night's events. In the wake of the devastating shooting, the investigation faced initial challenges in establishing a direct connection between Nakia Dorsey and the victims. The intricacies of the case obscured any immediately apparent ties between Dorsey and the individuals involved in the tragic incident, creating a daunting hurdle for law enforcement in the pursuit of justice. Despite this initial ambiguity, law enforcement diligently pursued various leads and investigative avenues. A breakthrough emerged from the digital footprint left by Dorsey's cell phone, which became a crucial piece in unraveling the puzzle. Tracking the phone's location and movements provided critical evidence as authorities pieced together a timeline of events that began to paint a clearer picture of Dorsey's potential involvement. Through this digital trail, law enforcement discovered a significant revelation. Dorsey's cell phone location data indicated his presence at Jayne Salazar-Chavez's house during the exact time of the fatal shooting. This crucial piece of information provided a compelling link between Dorsey and the crime scene, significantly strengthening the suspicions pointing towards his involvement in the tragic events that unfolded that harrowing night. The convergence of evidence from both the absence of direct links and the cell phone location data marked a turning point in the investigation as law enforcement began to build a more concrete case against Nakia Dorsey. The digital trail served as a compelling link, weaving together the narrative of events and casting a spotlight on Dorsey's proximity to the scene of the devastating crime, inching closer to unlocking the truth behind the heinous act. The unfolding tragedy bore witness to a chilling revelation. A neighbor's surveillance camera had reportedly captured the horrific incident. This technological witness, the unblinking eye of a security camera, silently recorded the harrowing events of that fateful night, offering a visual narrative that could potentially hold crucial evidence vital to the case. Amid this relentless pursuit of truth, the gravity of the situation reverberated beyond the confines of the investigation. The emotional toll of the loss weighed heavily on the hearts of those directly affected by the devastating event. Amparo Salazar, Chavez's mother, experienced the brunt of this anguish. The news of her daughter's shooting and the subsequent arrest of Nakia Dorsey in connection to the fatal incident proved to be an unbearable blow. Amparo Salazar was overwhelmed by grief. Tears streamed down her face, a poignant reflection of the anguish and devastation that tore through her upon learning the tragic fate that had befallen her daughter. The weight of the loss, coupled with the arresting developments in the case, magnified the pain, leaving her to grapple with an indescribable mixture of sorrow, disbelief, and a profound sense of injustice. Tiesha Fernandez of Channel 2 was granted a poignant glimpse into the world of Amparo Salazar, the bereaved mother of Jayne Salazar-Chavez. Amparo invited Fernandez into her late daughter's room, a space that once brimmed with youthful vibrancy, dreams, and aspirations. With a heavy heart and amidst the language barrier that separated their grief, Amparo conveyed her indescribable pain as she carefully began to pull out the medals that Jayne had earned over the course of her tragically short life. Each medal, a tangible testament to the dreams and achievements of a life that had been cruelly cut short, held profound significance. Amparo's gesture of showcasing these cherished symbols of her daughter's accomplishments spoke volumes about the loss she was grappling with and the depths of sorrow that could scarcely be articulated. In a heart-wrenching and emotionally charged moment during the interview with Channel 2's Tiesha Fernandez, Amparo Salazar attempted to piece together the devastating sequence of events that led to the tragic loss of her daughter, Jayne Salazar-Chavez. With the weight of sorrow etched on her face, Amparo, speaking through the language barrier, struggled to express the unfathomable pain she was enduring. In a voice laden with sorrow, Amparo shared her interpretation of the events that led to her daughter's untimely demise. The boyfriend maybe called her, she explained, trying to make sense of the chain of events that unfolded. Her daughter had been inside the house, and then she ventured outside, never to return. The harrowing ordeal, as recounted by Amparo, was nothing short of terrible, an indescribable tragedy that shattered the very fabric of their lives. Amparo Salazar expressed her anguish and heartfelt plea in the wake of the tragic loss of her daughter, Jayne Salazar-Chavez. Faced with the overwhelming sorrow of a life cruelly cut short, Amparo's words were a raw outpouring of the pain she carried and the desperate plea for change amidst her shattered reality. Just want to cry, just want to cry, just want to cry, she articulated, echoing the depths of her despair and the magnitude of her loss. Her words were a poignant reflection of the inconsolable pain she grappled with, an emotional expression that mirrored the overwhelming grief that engulfed her in the wake of the devastating crime that robbed her of her daughter. In a heartfelt plea, Amparo expressed a resounding wish for change, fervently urging for a world where firearms were not readily available. No more buying, everybody, guns, because now it's terrible, she appealed. Her impassioned plea bore the weight of the tragedy that had befallen her daughter, particularly emphasizing the vulnerability of young people and the absence of responsibility in wielding firearms. Her words were a stark call to action, born from the depths of her own anguish and loss, resonating as a plea for change to prevent such heartbreaking incidents from occurring in the future. In her profound sorrow and desperate plea for change, Amparo's words resonated as a heartfelt call for a world free from the devastating impact of gun violence, born from the shattered pieces of a mother's heart, seeking solace in the wake of an unimaginable loss. The community bid their final farewells to the cherished 17-year-old Jayne Salazar-Chavez, whose life was tragically cut short in a senseless act of violence outside her home. The profound loss of this vibrant young soul was honored and mourned in a poignant funeral service held in Decatur, a gathering marked by shared grief and a tribute to the beautiful life she led. A student at Towers High School, Jayne was a radiant presence within the school community. Her recent crowning as the homecoming queen and her role as the group commander in the Air Force Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps (JROTC) program reflected her extraordinary spirit and leadership. The school community and beyond were captivated by her dedication, charm, and unyielding commitment to excellence. Principal Sims, echoing the sentiments of the school, shared a heartfelt tribute, expressing, "Jayne, you were such an inspiration and a great student leader. We will miss you, my dear." This message, posted to the school's social media, encapsulated the collective sorrow and profound loss felt by all who had the privilege of knowing Jayne. In the wake of this heartbreaking loss, the district extended its support to the Towers High School community, recognizing the immeasurable impact of Jayne's presence on the lives of her fellow students. Grief counseling sessions were offered to help students and staff navigate the overwhelming emotions brought about by the tragic loss. The district's announcement underscored the indelible mark Jayne left on her peers and the wider community. In a poignant letter, they conveyed that through conversations, writing, shared memories, and cherished photographs, it became evident that Jayne's light touched the lives and hearts of many students, Her legacy as a source of inspiration and kindness was woven into the very fabric of the school. A bright flame extinguished far too soon, the community grieved the loss of a remarkable young individual, a beacon of hope and leadership, as they came together to celebrate her life, reflect on her impact, and find solace in the cherished memories she left behind. Jayne's absence left a void that could never be filled, but her spirit and influence would endure as a guiding light for those who knew and loved her. In the pursuit of justice for the tragic loss of Jayne Salazar-Chavez, the arrest and subsequent legal proceedings marked significant milestones in the quest to hold the perpetrator accountable for the heinous crime. Nakia Dorsey, the individual suspected of the fatal shooting, was apprehended by law enforcement on January 12, 2023. Days after the arrest, Dorsey was found in an apartment in Morrow, Georgia, according to reports, positioning him approximately 18 miles south of the location where the tragic shooting had taken place. Months later, the culmination of a thorough legal process arrived on Monday, August 7, 2023, as a DeKalb County jury rendered a verdict in the case. Dorsey was found guilty on multiple charges related to the slaying of Jayne Salazar-Chavez and the injury inflicted upon Brandon Wilson. The charges included 1 count each of felony murder and possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony, along with 2 counts of aggravated assault. This resounding verdict by the jury solidified the responsibility of Dorsey in the tragic events that unfolded that fatal night. Following the guilty verdict, Superior Court Judge Letitia Dear Jackson, who presided over the trial, delivered the sentence. Nakia Dorsey was sentenced to life imprisonment, with an additional 25 years to be served consecutively. The comprehensive sentence reflected the severity of the crimes committed and the irrevocable loss caused by the fatal shooting of Jayne Salazar-Chavez and the injuries inflicted upon Brandon Wilson. The legal proceedings and subsequent sentencing served as a pivotal moment in the pursuit of justice for the beloved young woman lost to an act of senseless violence. While the sentencing couldn't reverse the tragic events, it aimed to bring closure and accountability for the devastating loss of Jayne and the irreparable harm caused to all those impacted by the harrowing incident. Remember to subscribe to our channel if you found this content valuable. We'll see you in the next one.